real quickly because I just want to make it clear to our listeners that we are aware of the Math Hoffa Kiki situation, but I think
Mm.
I think I speak for everybody when we say that I don't think any of us are truly qualified to speak on it. Not going to discuss it. There's just not a lot of information. We're not really qualified to speak on it, but we do know that it's out there. We just want to let y'all know we're not trying to brush over it or treat it like it's nothing. We just don't feel qualified to speak on it. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the r/Rap Battles podcast. I'm your host, Hula. We got a whole slew of people on our panel here today. We've got the man who just came fresh off of a one-round body, Lockhart, aka Makes Sense. What's good with you?
Hello, all.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. We got Yusuf
Howdy.
in the building. Mr. Shall I keep it going?
Should I keep it going?
Keep it going.
I'm good.
Swag God, young Swag God, what's up?
He's 16. Yo.
Hey, he's only 16. People do forget. People are really out here
Yeah,
forgetting.
yeah.
And then we
Right.
got Hot Take.
Ominous Boosh, what some people call me, but I don't really rock with that name. It's a terrible rap name. I can't lie.
Keep it going.
Keep it going.
Keep it going.
Let's keep it going.
I say it's a terrible name. I can't lie.
Mhm.
Sometimes I think about it and I want to die.
Oh my god.
I be over here trying to count up these scores for this battle.
All right. And then
All right.
all right, we're well, let's not keep it going for right now. And then we've also got one new guest in here. We've got Lena joining the podcast. Lena, how you doing?
Oh my God,
She said
don't
she's
keep it
hanging
going.
in there. I heard that.
Okay,
Hanging in there.
Lena's hanging in there. Her microphone right now. She's trying to speak to us through a fresh Idaho potato. So we're gonna see if she can speak to us through the chat. Our first topic of discussion. I woke up out of bed. I checked the URL TV app, and it said 1 hour ago, Gnome 10 announcement number 3, Mike P versus the Saga. Folks, how are we feeling about it?
I'm feeling great, man. That's a fire battle, fire matchup. I normally wouldn't say that shit for any matchup, but that's really.
Main stage, Mike.
I still say Mike's gonna gentleman's 30, but no body.
We're going to do it already. I got Saga with the 2-1, and I like Mike more.
I think
Saga-
it's gonna depend on the angles that they take, but that's just something we're gonna have to wait and find out about.
No, I think the difference is gonna be Saga's been battling, and Mike hasn't. Just past 6 months.
I feel like he's been Mike kinda is gonna have the advantage because I feel like Mike, that's kind of the point why. I feel like Mike's just better than Saga. I don't think that the time stamp in between the amount of times they battle has anything to do with how this gonna go because they both got a month to write this round.
No, I'm gonna tell you why it does, Swag. Because right now, like, we in a different era, kind of. There's no reaction era. Mike P has no experience with, but Saga has. Between the Cortez battle and the B-Dot battle, he has a lot, and he might have the best round of the year actually. That B-Dot shit.
How does that stack up against Mike P's second versus Danny though?
I say Saga's is better. I do at least, because Saga's third got me looking at B-Dot a different way. That's a hard thing to do.
I think it's low key the best battle on the card. People are going to be so focused on the loaded Luxe, Surf, Stay Rock, Daylight battles, and all the other battles that are going to get announced and everything. That one's probably going to get a little bit not enough attention paid to it. I think both battlers are going to come into it hungry with something to prove, and I feel like they're going to bring their best material that they brought to date. And that's considering Saga just had an incredibly great debatable with B-Dot.
Which, as we've said before, is a very hard thing to do. We've also got, real quickly, Wrath joining us. I believe he's in the chat right now. He thinks it's going to be 2-1 Saga. I'm really excited for this Mike P Saga matchup. First things first, I think it's a really good look for both of them, and it's a good plate. This, in my opinion, is the first really big look for both of them, if I'm not mistaken. Could someone correct me on that?
Mike had Twerk on Gnome 7. Is that
Twerk
bigger
wasn't
look than
Twerk at
that?
that time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Twerk
man.
wasn't Twerk.
And
Twerk
he did
still
30
isn't
Twerk.
Twerk, to be honest. But I think I don't know. I feel like Saga in the small room isn't that much of a look, or Mike P in the small room like that isn't that much of a look.
That's true.
I feel
but
like
it's still known.
the only thing that makes this a kind of a look is the name attached to it, but this isn't really a gnome. This is like volume 6.
That's where I
Okay.
take issue with it because, I mean, I think it's disrespectful to both battlers to think they're already like just placed as like the gatekeeper battle of the card and everything like that, to where everybody's just gonna ignore it and everything like that. No, these two definitely deserve it. They've put in classic showings in each of their in a lot of their battles before. I wouldn't say each, but a lot of their battles before. They didn't just get announced as the third battle on the card for no particular reason. There's gonna be more battles coming.
I hope so.
Now they're only throwing a card with 3 battles on it.
They're doing it Discord style. 3 battles for 1 card.
They're opening it up on the Discord.
3 battles, and it's gonna be like a 2-day card.
That's a 2-day card.
Half
Battle and a half a day.
Yeah.
It's gonna be whoever goes first gonna get through half the round, and then they're gonna be like, all right, Tom, wait till tomorrow to see the rest.
Your Honor ends his third round with, you know what happens to so and so, and he shows up the next day, hosts a battle, and just be like, same thing that happens to any other so and so in my neighborhood.
Talk about it, hot take.
Let's see. Let's lock in our predictions real quickly. Both in the chat and for the podcast's sake, we'll run it down. Let's go with Make Sense. Who do you got?
I got Mike P 2-1.
Yusuf, who do you got?
I got Saga 2-1, but I'm rooting for Mike P.
Swag, who do you got?
Mike P 3-0, nobody.
And Hot Take.
I agree with Swag. Mike P 3-0, nobody.
Lena does not have an opinion. I'm going to go with Saga 2-1. I think it's going to be a great battle. I think, going off of what Makes Sense just said, I think these gatekeeper battles have a really important role in the sport because it determines who's really ready for the big leagues and who's maybe got a few more steps to make. I don't know if this is really a true gatekeeper battle because it doesn't have John John in it. Because let's be real, John John is the gatekeeper of the URL, but whoever wins this battle, if it's a good enough performance, they're going to be set up for a few bigger plates in the future.
Shug is the gatekeeper of URL. I don't know, most of the battles that he's had, especially with up and comers for the URL, have been like after they battle Shug, they go on to get bigger plates. And it's kind of hard to say that there's a bigger plate than Shug because like Shug is he's established in the game. So it only makes sense that he would be the gatekeeper in this.
Can I disagree?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
this
ahead.
is Dark Knight. We got Dark Knight 4-6 in the building. What's up, Dark Knight?
The only reason why I disagree with that, I can say he was the previous gatekeeper, but for someone to be a gatekeeper, that means some people can't make it, some people can. Majority of anybody that go against Shug, they win. Shug is no longer a threat to nobody because of his material that he brings to the people that's supposed to be going against him. That's why if you want to say John John the Don, I'm fine with that because John John the Don punish people.
The thing about John John is no one gets past him, period.
That's a fact. I'm just saying if people want to say John John, that's why I understand it.
I'm not mad at that. I'm gonna say I think Cortez, even though it's disrespectful to who Cortez is, because
I could see Cortez also.
When was the last time Cortez battled on URL though?
we like 4 battles this year.
On like a big stage though.
I think it was O-Red.
That was a
Are we
Big stage? I don't
talking
know.
about like his 2-on-2 with Matt?
Nah, we're not gonna.
Is that his
count
last? Is that his last on the big stage though?
Hold on,
Yeah.
I'm on Verge Tracker right now. Let me see.
I'm going to read what Wrath just said. Shug is the gatekeeper. John John is the gatekeeper of the upper echelon of the URL. Gatekeepers, in a sense, don't keep people out of the top tier, but they make sure that they can hang with the people who are considered top tier. And I think that is a great point.
Then can I say Danny Myers the gatekeeper?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
about to. I
I'll
was
agree
thinking
on
that.
I'll agree on
Danny
that.
Myers.
I'll concede that.
Because Danny Myers faces majority of the mid-tier come up who you would consider Shug to be the gatekeeper. Danny Myers go against all of them, and he go against top tier, and he's considered, a top tier.
Just to put it into perspective, is Born Legacy Supreme 2 counted as a big stage event technically?
I
Because
counted
of
as a
the
mid
crowd?
stage.
So yeah, his last big stage event was Twerk.
Cortez.
Yeah.
That's criminal.
I just don't think Shug does enough anymore to even get that role.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Wrath ran down the card thus far. We've got Surf Luxe, Rock versus Daylight, Saga versus Mike P, and then the finalists of Ultimate Madness.
I got Mike P versus
Saga.
being the battle tonight.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Thank
Maybe.
you.
Sounds like we're really
It's
excited
gonna be-
about this.
It's gonna be a
From the way it's
sleeper hit
looking, it
for
might be.
sure. Like
I think it's better tonight. I don't see anybody
The other
else.
battles were one-sided as fuck.
I think that's gonna be better tonight. Don't get me wrong, Luxe gonna be fire, Susur gonna be fire, but I think Mike P been waiting for a main stage, and I know it's not a big stage, but it's like it's a big look, and he's gonna. So I know Mike P gonna go crazy, and Saga gonna be Saga.
Let's move on to our main discussion of the evening. We
I'm
have
excited for this. Let's go.
we have
Y'all ain't
a
ready for this, I
breakdown
promise.
of one of the most iconic battles of all time, from Summer Madness to Calico versus Loaded Luxe. We got Sauce in the building. Sauce, how you doing?
What's good, Sauce?
I
What's good,
said,
beloved?
yo.
We got
nigga.
Sauce in the building. Sauce is in the
Hello,
building.
Nah, y'all don't want this conversation with me, I promise.
Let's break
Okay,
it.
okay.
Let's break it down round by round. We'll do it in the order in which that things are doing. But first, Sauce, I believe you're our go-to context guy. What is some of the outside context surrounding Loaded Luxe versus Calico?
Summer Madness 2.
Oh gosh, where do I start? So originally, from what I heard, it was supposed to be Math was originally set up to battle Calico, or by Lux, excuse me. But that stopped. That train stopped when Calico not only bodied him, but also Math released a diss track to Loaded Lux, was set up to battle Lux, got bodied by Cal. Cal called out Lux during that battle, and at the same time, according to one of our other members, Sci-Fi, he said that Conceited was offered Lux originally, but declined that due to knowing that the gas in that building would be ridiculous. Also mentioned before was that Hollow was thinking about battling Lux at this time, but again, same reason, he didn't want to deal with the gas, and then at the same time he got locked up as well. Cal, after the Math body, he bodied two other people, not bodied per se, but he beat clearly Shine and Suge, which were considered big deals at the time. And we all know what happened with the Detroit versus Jersey beef around that time as well.
Yeah, I think that's the worst, one of the lowest points in battle rap.
It was in that battle what Suge said about proof that occurred in that battle. And then we all know the famous stuff about Lux bringing the hearse and bringing the bringing the obituaries and everything that originally was set up by Hollow to be done on Hitman in their battle during SM1. But Hollow decided not to do that just because it would be like a weird vibe to set out. Apparently, according to Hollow, Lux took it to a whole nother level. He wasn't even going to bring like a casket. He was just going to bring an obituary. Like he was going to order him a hearse, but he was never going to bring it to the actual battle.
Let me read what Wrath just said. Hollow and Cal was offered as a battle as well. They both secretly agreed to not take this battle, but Cal took the battle behind Hollow's back, which I find very interesting.
Word.
Yeah, he did.
Alright.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they discussed that in the watch of this battle.
So we want to talk about who we had winning first and then talk about the rounds?
Real quickly, because everyone's different, how do you decide the winner of a round or a battle, or do you keep a scorecard? What do you do? We'll start with Sauce.
So it really depends on the battle. Like how I'll count Nitty versus Av is different, and how I would count like John versus Jackboy. You know, like I feel like you can't really base every battle on the same thing. Like if you go to like Nitty versus B Dot, if you try to, you can't really count it by punches per se, because they're not both punchers. One of them is a puncher, one of them is more of a writer's writer. So I think ultimately it's just dependent on your preference and how you receive the material.
Dark Knight, how do you decide who wins a battle or who wins a round?
It's most like what he said. I do battles differently. You know, I do like to put in delivery in there. You know, I look at the whole package. You know, when I do and I keep a scorecard, so I do a point system as well.
Okay, what's your point system based off of?
Well, I'm a very like strict like point person. Like I'm not like as easy as going as like a lot of people. I put in like the good punches, the haymakers, decent ones, but like those fillers, like just get a punch in, get a punch in, get a punch in, but I doing none. I don't even count them. I'm more strict when it comes to the points.
Lockhart, how do you do that?
I keep track of who wins, loses a round, basically. I've seen a lot of bars and I've heard a lot of bars since I started doing this. Anything that's relatively unique, automatically just like take it off as like an extra point to the person that said it. Delivery is also important with that. If you deliver it like an absolute sack of shit, then I'm not going to really count it whatsoever. Basically, how well you can actually turn your actual bars into moments the crowd will remember, will actually resonate with the person listening to it. That's actually how I decide who wins, loses a particular round.
Yusuf, what about you?
It's a mix of a lot of what everybody says so far. I mean, how much your material resonates with me, how memorable it was, how frequent your punchline or haymaker ability was. It's mostly preference between the two. I'll just decide, do I prefer your round or this person's round more? For this particular battle, I did score it though, and I think a lot of us did score it for this moment.
Swag, go ahead.
Like I hate to do to do with bar heavy, because I feel like there's so much more to battle rap than like, I know it sounds weird, but there's so much more to actual battle rap but bars. Of course I'm thinking about bars, but I'm thinking about like delivery, performance, and like how fluid you could get through your material, of course, because like if you Like I feel like stumble should like if you stumble in them, I'm like damn. So yeah, I feel like that factors in. I don't like doing the point system thing. I feel like it takes away from like a lot of the aspects of battle rap.
Hot take, go ahead.
Typically, when I score a battle, I try not to on first watch. I'm just trying to absorb what they're actually saying, and then I'll actually keep a scorecard on the second watch. The first watch is more for trying to get the impression, and you can typically judge who wins based on your first impression. But if you go back through and you actually like keep a score, you start to notice, oh, well, he said this thing, but that doesn't actually make sense, and I thought it was fire on first watch. That
Right.
kind of thing tends to happen a lot in battle rap that I notice.
I can
Like, especially with keeping track of Lux's, how I would score him, is hard, right? Like, he does all these really intricate rhyme schemes, and as like somebody who tries to write like that, it's hard for me to be like, okay, well, he gets a point for the rhyme scheme, but where would I put the point? Because it's all just really good rapping.
That's a fact.
So I can't. It's just kind of like a special meter kind of. He's been rapping really good for a little bit now. I'm gonna give him like a point for that. I might give him another point because he just keeps going with it. Oh, he's got the 3 bars now. He's about to hit the special move. About to hit both triggers and all 3 buttons.
That's a great way of describing it.
So Wrath does the same as Dark Knight as far as scoring a battle. He does a point system. I lean more towards personally what Hot Take does, in the sense that I don't score it on first watch, and I just like to soak it in and take whatever is given to me on the first watch. Second time through, third time through, I do it like a 3-point system, and that's how I did this one. 1 for a punch, for a good punch, 2 for better than good punch, and then 3 for an absolute either a haymaker or a room shaker or just something that I was amazed by. And that can go for performance too. It's not strictly just the bars that I'm judging this based off of. But at the end of the day, also, I remember Max Kellerman from ESPN's First Take saying that sometimes when you're judging a boxing match, the determinant of who wins that round is just who you would rather be in that round. Which fighter would you have rather been in that round? And I think battle rap, because battle rap is so subjective, I think sometimes that's also a good way to calculate who wins a round. So Wrath also said performance, bars, potency, delivery, and consistency. Also, Lena says that Swag sounds smart for a 10-year-old. Swag, how do you feel about that?
Go to your room, bro. 16.
You time out.
Go to the corner and think about what you've done.
Let's
man.
hop into the beef of the discussion.
Let's get into it, man. I say we start with who we had winning in what round. I'm gonna go first.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go first.
Go ahead.
Controversial opinion I've been having for the longest. Lux won the battle, but he lost the first and second round. Who's
Yusuf,
going
you
next?
need to go to bed right now. You need to go to bed, Yusuf.
Who's next?
Me
Who's
too.
next? Salt, what you got?
Yusuf, you 16 now.
No, to be fair, I didn't really watch. I didn't get the chance to rewatch it with y'all, so I'm not. So I'm not gonna say too much about this battle. So I'll just say from when I first watched this battle, I had Lux 2-1, but I am open to being a converted Calico believer. So,
Speaking of which, Cal 2-1, first and second. I don't believe that his third round counts as a knockout.
I do.
Yes, sir.
It's been a good little minute since I seen that battle. So like I said, I'm going from the last time I seen it. I have Lux 2-1. I think it was second or third.
Dan, can we hear you? Dan, you in here? Okay, we can kind of hear you. But who do you have winning Lux versus Cal?
Lux 2-1.
Oh man, y'all hive mind niggas. I hate y'all. It's cool. I'm gonna prove y'all wrong.
Honestly, wildly enough, the closest round was the first. I'll get into it when we get into the in-depth part, but the first round was the closest round.
Okay, I got Lux 2-1, second and third. When I was first just getting reintroduced into battle rap, watched battle rap for a little bit when I was like 13, 14, watching old A-Hat battles. Shout out to A-Hat TV. Then kind of fell out of it, then got reintroduced back into it my sophomore year of college. And Lux versus Calico was probably the second or third battle that I had seen since coming back. And of course, me being a relative newbie, I thought, oh my God, Luxe 3-0. And then I came to my senses. And after rewatching it today and watching it yesterday again, I have Luxe 2-1, second and third. How about we go through Calico's first round? What do we think about Calico's first round?
He spent a lot of it going out after other battlers, what I noticed.
Calico's first round, I scored as a 12.5, which is a small because I had Lux at a 13.5, oddly enough.
And he rapped like 16 bars.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's kind of what I was saying. I give Calico 14 points. A lot of the stuff that he said in the beginning, while not necessarily directed at Lux, was important for the narrative at the time because he had just recently been outed in the media for the dogfighting thing. Regardless of whether or not that's true, I don't know. But he spoke on it, and like some of the shit that he said in there was actually good.
I agree.
For a full round, if you only have a little bit of good, that's terrible.
I think the rest of his round, he had some shit in it. When it comes around to like Lux's round, right? He was on fire for that entire first. But right when he started catching up in points to Calico, he choked. And that was the end of the round, which automatically is just the loss of the round at that point. If he had not choked, it would absolutely be Lux 2-1. But he did choke, therefore Cal 2-1.
I will say that if Lux would have not choked and had his unreleased second round in his second round, it would have been a clear third. No debate. We wouldn't even be talking right now.
Yeah, that's fair too.
With the Lux being choking, that's really why I gave it to Calico. Because, Calico actually cleared it, like, had a good, clean run, and Lux just messed up with me, and I really don't like choking. Because I feel like it's easy to remember your bars.
We talking about the first round, right?
Yeah,
First round, Lux and Calico.
Oh, yeah, well, of course, because of the choke. And I don't know, I gotta talk about it because I heard Yusuf say he had Lux with higher points in the first round.
Yes, but I took off points after that because of the choke.
Okay, so I pulled up like the Genius with the lyrics and stuff. I want to know like just where were these points coming from? Like where did you get these points?
Oddly enough, I gave him a point for the intro, just one, because I still think it was fire. It was the first thing I ever heard. The Detroit niggas came to get divided. The decided shit, I thought that was both fire. Royce the 5-9 shit, and that got broke down for me. I thought that was fire. We don't need no more D's niggas down behind them. That was fire. The Great Gene was hiding shit. I thought that was fire. And then the Harlem Hospital giving beds out. If not for the third round, it would have been the haymaker. So I give a few points for that.
Let me get it together.
But I mean, he choked. Like, I don't think this first round is debatable for that reason alone.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say other than what everybody else said. He pretty much fought through a choke. He also performed like extremely well against a return like Lux's, against a crowd like that. Yeah, so I gave it to Calico clear.
I think all of us did, based on how we feel about choking and everything. And as far as what I had on my scorecard, Calico with 8 points. The best bar of the first round from Calico being the quickest way through Harlem is the ambulance. That was a 2. I rated that as a 2. And then Lux's first round, I gave him 7 points. 1 for the 8 Mile by 10 it, a Royce the 5-9 it, and then 3 each in these. I think I only had 3 threes in this battle. Bedsheet drying, Harlem Hospitals, both of those were 3s. And then the choke. Yeah, so I had Calico winning that as well. It's important to note that this round, in particular from Luxe, made it okay to choke and only lose the round as opposed to losing the entire battle. Can we agree on that?
That's criminal.
That's a fact.
That's criminal. I will stand beloved to the end of time, but you should not get a pass for that.
But he's that cool though, my nigga.
That's criminal.
Whole battle, giving him
Because
because
he had a great round. One great round, he made it.
Swag back in 2012 and earlier on URL, if you choked, you just lost.
Are you talking to Swag because he was born in 2013?
2013?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Swag. I'm sorry. No disrespect whatsoever. No, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. Shall we move on to round 2, which I think is probably the most debatable round of this battle?
Yeah, this is the one we gotta argue on, man. This is.
Well, whoever wins this wins the battle. Like that's not a debate.
No. I think that's wrong.
No, I agree with what you're about to say because you're going to say something along the lines of
You just don't agree that it applies to this battle.
Calico won the round, but because of Luxe's third, it counts as like a knockout punch because that round.
Exactly. Thank you, hot take.
I disagree with that like mentality. I don't believe that battle rap has knockouts. There are a few that I can agree with, but there's really only one out of the couple of examples that you gave me, Yusuf. You gave me
I think I know the one you're talking about.
you gave me this battle, and then there was one other one that you were talking about at Verb versus Torque. I don't believe that like if you lose the first 2 rounds, but your third round is just godly, I don't believe that wins you the battle. That
99% of the time, I would say that's a 2-1 loss for you. But when you have one round like this one, that's culture shifting. This round changes like battle rap, I'd argue, and I stand by that. Like,
Can you explain how it changed battle rap though?
no, that shit had the whole world watching. I mean, mind you, I wasn't watching battle. I've only been watching battles for. I watched that shit when it came out.
I mean, people have been calling people lost forever.
Yeah,
now.
man.
Like since this battle came out, everybody's
that
just
battle has me
now.
saying, "Look at you, emotional." Like
Jay-Z,
that battle is.
Jay-Z tweeted that out. Like
Facts, like that shit lifted the culture up. That was a massive moment, man.
And
Too significant.
Drake hit Twerk up after the Verb battle, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's culture shifting.
Well, Twerk is kind of culture shifting, but I mean, I'm talking about that round specifically. That round is just too deadly a round for me not to say it's a knockout punch. It's super rare. There are 3 times it happened to me. I think it happened with Twerk's third, Verb's third against Hitman, and this one right here, where you lose 2 rounds, but you win a round so badly, so hard, you win the battle. That's it.
Bro, Turk was down 2-0 already and going into the third. Like
That's a fact. That's a fact. But that third hurt Verb's soul. I promise you, he was throwing up after that third.
Twerk's like I know we're going off topic, but Twerk's like the Lil Wayne of battle rap, low key. He has all the Wayne babies and everything. Twerk got the Twerk babies.
Let's keep it going, man. Calico and Luxe is second. We're gonna talk about that real quick.
All right, I'm just gonna start with my bar breakdown. Calico's first round. I gave 3 points to the bar "Make My Bitch Beat Your Bitch Ass" only because I will be saying that just randomly throughout the day. I'll just be like walking around, smoking a cig. Oh, I'll smack your bitch ass. Make my bitch slap your bitch ass. It just like comes into my head and then I say it all day.
The reminds me of Hollow's "I Bet My Mom Could Beat Your Mom Up" versus Clips.
It's just some really smooth shit, and I can get behind that. I gave 2 points to the line. I wish I'd written the setups for these, but leave the purse in the whip, and then 3 points for the reversible hip, lifting some shit that'll leave you with a reversible hip. I gave 2 points to the I don't even want the money in the first place. 3 points to crazy how I draw something just to erase people. Like that bar was hard. I gave him 2 points for that whole wrestling scheme he had at the end of his round. I had a couple of 1-pointers throughout it, but they're really not that important. They were all just like that's a nice bar. Moving on. I gave Calico 23 points for that round. I just really liked that round. The real talk in it was just good.
I'm with you, man. I gave Calico 20 points total for this. I like the reversible hip thing. I like the, taking your personal shit, how personal can personal get. I like. I give a couple points to just wanted to kill him in the first place. I like that. The lay down and act dead thing, that shit is hard, man. I don't care if it's said before by him. It's just hard. It was the same for me. Just a whole bunch of 1 points and half points here, and I ended up with 20 points. I'm gonna leave it at that. We're gonna talk about Luxe.
So that means all the most memorable ones was the draw something just to erase a nigga. The joint, that hip bar was crazy. That's the only one that's popping up right off the top of my head because it's been a while since I watched it. But the whole second, though, I still think it was like a debatable. I don't think Calico could like clear nobody in the second. It was like a debatable. That's why.
I got a hot take on why you don't think that, but I'm gonna wait till we talk about Luxe to explain.
Yeah, so for this Calico round, I thought it was clearly Calico's best round, and it was a good round. I only had 9 points for it. No disrespect to Calico whatsoever because it was good. I had points for. I thought the opening choke rebuttal was okay. I thought it was enough to warrant a punch. It wasn't like a phenomenal rebuttal, but it was fine.
Right.
I also gave a point to "Make My Bitch Beat Your Bitch Ass." I just thought that sounded really smooth, like Hot Take said. I didn't give it 3 points. I only gave it 1 though. And then I gave 2 points to the reversible hip bar, Old Hollow Heads, and the draw something just to erase bar. And then I also kind of liked, what do you say, the clip looking like Florida or something, clip shaped like Florida. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I gave him 1 point for that line. Okay, that's a nice line.
Yeah,
Moving on.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool. I hadn't thought of that before.
It's a really nice imagery bar. You don't get a lot of that from Calico, so it was nice to see him do something like that.
Yeah, I had notes. I didn't take away any points. I just wrote it down that the proctor. What do we think about the whole proctor student? Lux is a proctor, math is a student. That whole deal.
That was in the third, wasn't it?
No, that was the second.
That was the second. If the crowd didn't fuck that up, we wouldn't hate it.
That's a
The
fact.
crowd just fucked it up.
Yeah, another thing about this battle is the crazy amount of gas for the Luxe return. And I can see and this was all, and as the earlier point that was made about the background of this battle being like nobody wanted to take this battle because of the gas. Like he was facing Luxe in New York on his comeback, and like I feel like the amount of gas in that building was insane. And like,
hello, this is Hula. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties with the recording equipment, our discussion on Loaded Luxe's second round against Calico was dropped from this podcast. Some of the opinions that were expressed during this lost segment were that Luxe's rapping, while incredible, some of the punchlines did not completely make sense, and some of them didn't really hit as hard. These examples include the tension's thicker than German guard dogs, as well as optical reach, and this was the reasoning behind some of our members giving Calico the second round. We will continue to improve our recording environment as well as provide high quality content to you, the listener. The conversation continues by discussing both of their third rounds as well as some of the filming and fairness aspects in the presentation of this battle. We hope you enjoy the rest of the podcast, and we promise to improve our recording environment.
You're wrong for that, but okay. We gotta hash this out.
Go ahead.
That third round does not count as a knockout.
You're 100% wrong.
No, dude. Like I gave him 19. I gave him 19 points.
You gave 19 off.
I gave him 19 points. I stopped giving 1 through 3 because I had to count it as rhyme schemes. That's just how I scored it. Hearing how you scored it, I understand why you would say, "Oh yeah, no, like that round was better than the whole battle." Based on how I scored it, I disagree. Obviously, he won the third. It wasn't better than his entire battle, though. I would also argue, like, just off principle, that third round is not better than Cal's whole battle. That's the argument you have to make for me.
I see what he's saying.
All right, I'm going to go right now then. I'm going to make the argument right now. Calico versus Loaded Luxe, the first thing that pops up is the third
Harlem
round.
Hospitals giving beds out. That's the first thing that comes to
For
my
me,
head.
it's you won't get this work. It's, you know what I'm saying, your pops wasn't no gangster. He was just another loss. All that shit. That's all I think of when you say Calico versus Luxe. I got to go back and take notes to remember what Calico said.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it's okay. All right. Example being, crap. Hold on. I'm not about to Jersey.
I believe in you, Doug.
Like there's many battles where you remember a singular bar or a singular moment, but that doesn't mean it overpowers what happened the entire battle and makes it a knockout. A bar isn't a knockout just because that's what you get out of it. It's if it beats the entire like round, because if it's a knockout, that assumes that they're losing and they need this round to bounce them back up. And I feel like if your quote unquote knockout round is not beating the rest of the battle, as Hot Take said, it can't be a knockout. That's not a knockout.
There is a difference though, counting off of points. Verb versus Hitman, where that like the only people remember Big Joe.
There's also
when you talk to your son.
J.R.
Like,
Smith.
I shoot anyway.
Nah, man. There's only one bar that matters out of that.
There's only one bar people care about from that battle, and it's Big Gerald. That's how you talk to your
same thing
son.
for this one, man. It's not Cal's round.
No,
bars that matter from this battle. 100%.
The bar that most people come through when I say, "Hey, yo, Luxe versus Cal." Oh yeah, Harlem Hospital's giving beds out.
Facts.
Like the third has a lot of bars. Don't get me wrong.
You know what? A lot of the shit came from Calico being emotional and being hurt by the shit. The skinny dipping with 6 bitches thing. You know, he whispered over he'll be out next year. I killed you when obviously he's dying. Calico's reaction to it made it
he was winning.
Calico.
He was winning.
That's kind of a fair point.
So he killed you.
But Calico's reaction made it worse for Calico. Genuinely.
No, that's a fact. If you get emotional, think about like a Jeffy P versus Costa.
He was emotional. I'm sorry to cut you off, Hot Take. He was emotional because he was talking about his pops. Crazy. Harriet Tubman was more of a man than your father will ever be? Like, come on, man.
No, Wrath out here said Cal being emotional from being booed. He said, and I quote, "Y'all loved me last year."
Yeah, I mean that's partially true. I'm not gonna argue against that. Him being
Like,
hurt by that third hurt his soul, and
he
that
was.
third had us all watching. It shifted how we think about third rounds.
Yeah, it's a mix. I agree.
I still don't see like Lux winning just off the strength of that round. It's a good round. The whole angle about like exposing the Instagram shit it was kind of sus.
Think about this for a second, man. The fact that it's blasphemous for anybody to even say Calico won because of this one round, that's argument enough right there, man.
To me,
It doesn't mean anything. Like there's a lot of battle rap bad opinions. That's the consensus.
Granted, collective ignorance isn't wisdom.
Yeah.
But if you say Calico versus Lux to the average battle rapper, they say Calico died.
I don't think he died.
Hey, that's collect. You just said what it was.
No,
Nah,
it's a hive mind thing. Like you're gonna have a lot.
Man.
You're gonna have.
Even though collective ignorance doesn't mean wisdom, if everybody says a shit on your shoe and you're saying there isn't, there's probably shit on your shoe.
You just
Probably
said,
I'm
but there's
say
a difference between that, though. This is an opinionated thing, not a factual thing. Everybody, like in battle rap, thinks Lux is the GOAT. Like Lux is the alpha. Like he's the big dog when it comes to battle rap. And
He's number two.
when you go against it, like there's a whole group of people ready to crucify you when you go against it. Like,
but swag, this is the reason they say it. This battle right here, this third round is the reason.
exactly, and that's such a weak reason.
Nah, man, this round hurt Calico for years. Come on, bro, don't do that. Don't do that.
I understand both sides of this argument. I'm siding with Yusuf on this one though. Like it was a very strong angle to take. Your pops wasn't no gangster shit. It's a good angle to take against somebody who really only does like real talk shit. But
what Raz said, the consensus of people will say that Calico died. That's real significant.
Just said collective ignorance. You just said collective
ignorance is not wisdom. That's a fact. But if we all see one thing, if I say the sky's blue and everyone says the sky's blue, and one person would say, nah, the sky is greenish yellow. Come on, man. Like
I see what you said in the chat, Dan.
100% it does. You think of Lex and Cal, you don't any round but the third.
The idea that we're having this debate in the first place is, did it count as a knockout? I don't believe that it does.
I don't think so.
I think y'all bugging, man.
It's a good ass round. He won it clear, but a knockout? No.
Yeah, 100%, man.
There's a difference between a good round and just like killing somebody off the strength. It's not like Big K's first versus Adi Boom. It's not like Verb's third versus Hitman.
100%,
where it's just like 100% the strength alone.
I would give y'all gonna hate me. I swear y'all gonna hate me, but I would even go as far as to say that Mike P's second versus Danny Myers is a more impactful round, was a better round than this one.
I'm disagreeing with you on that one.
Man, Swag, you bugging right now.
Nobody
you can say what you want, Swag. You
you see, that's the Lux. That's the Lux fan mindset. That's the Lux fan mindset.
That's the crazy part about it. I'm not a Lux fan at all.
You're young. You're not gonna understand. No, bro.
No, I'm just clowning you. I ain't gonna do that to you.
Yeah,
but you're wrong. You objectively wrong here.
He said, "I'm not gonna do that to you, bro." But no. I understand you are wrong, bro.
I think on the rare occasion you can lose 2 rounds and win 1 round. So I have 3 battles out of 300,000. I think it happened 3 times. 95% of the world has Calico losing that battle because
here's
of that
the thing, though. You literally just told us collective ignorance does not equal wisdom. But then tell us that the majority believes that this is true.
But Swag, those 2 things don't mean the same thing. Just because everybody agrees.
The point that we're trying to make here is that like battle rap on its own is just subjective. Yes. It's just fun to argue about shit.
That's true, man. But I mean,
most people have Lux 2-1 over Cal anyway.
But Swag, like if everybody says 2 + 2 is 4, and then a few people say 2 + 2 is 5, you're not going to use that argument. Collective ignorance doesn't mean wisdom, because 2 + 2 is 4.
I am with Wrath in the sense that you have to win a minimum of 2 rounds in order to win a battle. And then we can have disclaimers say, yeah, Verb or Hitman won the first 2 rounds against Verb, but Verb won that third, and obviously had the greatest moment in all of battle rap, arguably. But
Verb won the war. That's how I say it. Verb won the war. Lux won the war. Twerk won the war. Mike P won the war. These guys won the war.
Mike P won the battle too.
Mike P won that battle.
He won the war.
Second and third.
What?
Really?
Swag?
Might be third like 30 seconds.
Wait,
Yes, actually, it was super short. But keep
No,
it going.
wait, was it first and second I had it?
He did not win that
No,
first. He got
He didn't win the first either. I'll tell you that
I
much.
had Mike winning. I had Mike winning. I hate Danny's style, honestly. So it's just like a bias thing. I just don't like the
keep
way
it going,
Danny.
man.
some of
Hula,
the-
explain verb Hitman to me, please.
I mean, I thought Hitman won the first 2 rounds and then Verb won the third.
I fucking hate y'all, man. A book of hip hop gets made, right?
Yeah.
And battle rap only gets a chapter. That's the way you talk to your son. Is in that chapter.
Yeah,
It's
That's a
the
Hey,
fact.
only
That's a
thing-
fact. Verb
Verb may
Hitman
win the
is
first
really the
round.
only battle I see actually having like a third round knockout.
That was crazy.
Lux Calico, verb twerk.
Nah, I feel Verb Twerk is not a knockout. I feel like Twerk won the battle anyways, but
Turk recycled material from the third round.
No, we're gonna have to have that
Yeah,
discussion.
right.
another
Right.
Second
Right,
one's
you're right.
reachy as fuck.
That round is still
You a veteran
crazy
and this a
though.
veteran that make the sequel? What?
Yeah, I didn't get that. Wait, what?
He was reaching like crazy in that second.
But I
man.
bet
Come
you
on.
if Lux said that line in that round, you would have been like, "Oh, that's crazy."
No, I wouldn't have. I have a whole bunch of bars where he said stupid shit and I said that was terrible. Right here.
Hey, speaking of transcripting battles, shout out Tim the Genius.
Over a Genius? Yes.
He fucking had it was Real Deal versus Chilla Part 2, I think, like 30 minutes after the battle happened up
God
on
damn,
Genius.
really?
Real
Doug
deal rolled
Go.
9 rounds for each other.
This nigga listens to rap in his sleep.
I mean, I do that.
Damn, what?
Why you think they call him? Why you think they call him Tim the Genius?
I fell asleep to battles at one point.
As-
fell asleep to a
I
battle.
still do. I still fall asleep to battles. I fell
It's
asleep.
not
Okay.
like they're bad. It's like they're bad. It's just like I just fell asleep. That's really it.
I fell asleep to John Don versus Chess, so I completely
Oh,
understand.
fuck.
That's disrespectful.
Thing.
I fell
Thought I
asleep.
server muted you. Get out
Well,
of here.
Yo, you didn't hurry up and ban me because you get me tight hot take with your stupid ass take.
I want to ask y'all this because this battle on camera is highly edited. There's a lot of footage
that's
that
crazy.
happen. There's a lot of footage that happens in this battle that we don't get. Apparently, Lux's third is a lot longer than what is given, and apparently he was booed.
No, quick about that. Shout out to Moose Bigelow, one of the mods over on the sub. He asked me to talk about. There were 2 minutes that he had after what was like released. He had an additional like couple of minutes of material.
Did that get booed?
Totally fell flat. I didn't hear that he got booed. I could totally see it happening if it fell flat, but that was something that he wanted me to bring up.
That's in the third, the material that he got booed for.
Uh-huh.
Allegedly,
Alleg-
booed. I didn't know about the booed, but
Allegedly.
Fat.
what I do know for a
That's
fact is
the
that
case?
Lux's third is much longer than on camera, and some of Calico's reaction was edited from Lux.
If that's the case, man, I don't know.
Weren't the reactions from the crowd edited as well?
Yeah, like some of the
Yeah.
shit that
Yeah,
Cal
there
got
were-
reaction for on camera wasn't real. They took it from.
Right.
Some of
I
the
did
Lux
kind of
reactions.
notice it. When I listened to it, I could actually kind of hear where the audio was spliced.
Really?
Allegedly in the third round.
My question is this: is that fair?
Wait,
That,
okay.
that depends. That
Yeah,
depends.
let me say it like this, because if the crowd was purposely being like biased against Lux, which obviously was the case, we all know this, then throwing in a little bit of reaction to make it seem like how it is, how it should have been, is not that bad. I don't think so, in my opinion, actually. But like you could tell, like they were reusing like Diddy reactions. But I feel like the cutting of footage, like cutting apart, like if let's say if Cal choked or if Lux choked or Lux had material that fell flat, I feel like cutting that out is kind of shady business, to be honest.
I don't necessarily think that it would be a bad thing because this was 2012. Battle rap was still like establishing itself, I suppose, technically speaking, as like a semi-serious format. This was the biggest battle of the time. They would have wanted to make it look good. I think they added response or crowd response for both of them. I think technically it is fair. I would also say that just leaving it unedited in its entirety would also have been just fair. We're not going to have any of like the bias of, oh, well, the crowd's reacting here. I guess it was a good bar. You wouldn't have that in the areas where they edited that. So you would have a really fair judgment of what actually was good in the battle.
I was gonna bring up and what was it MWX versus Gun Titles? They didn't edit that at all, and that was just terrible in terms of like the stage
Right.
acting. But when it came to this battle, I guess I don't know, they valued it more.
Yeah, I understand. It kind of is an investment thing of battle rappers. They put their egg in both baskets, but more so in Luxe's. They also did the same thing with Chess and John. Edited out his choke.
I haven't seen that battle since it's been edited. I've only seen it since it was live on Caffeine. If we watched it back, do we know that Chess choked in that round?
No, you don't know. That's why I don't know if you remember or not. The day it got dropped, I was asking in the chat, am I bugging or did Chess choke in this battle? And everybody said, yeah, he had a long choke in the second round. And I'm like, okay, well, it's definitely edited out because you can't tell at all. They're trying too hard to protect their investments. It's frustrating. And we were all annoyed with that fucking choke.
Yeah.
But on the app, it's gone completely.
Damn.
You cannot tell.
That's where I take issue with it, because in a way you're not allowing the sport to be fully authentic and legitimized when you edit that sort of thing and you try to manipulate it so that it looks better for one person or another, right? If I take, for example, a random football game or a random soccer game, right, and I edit out all the parts where the opponent that I'm not rooting for, if I edit out all the parts where they don't score,
yeah, just highlights.
But I present that as something that, hey, this is what happened in the game. That to me indicates that there's some fishy business going on behind the scenes. I don't even think it needs to be unedited. You can edit it, because obviously I don't need an entire 2 minutes worth of choking to recognize that he choked away the round. Same thing can go for example, the rematch between Holododon and Arsenal. The fight that happened, right? So there was enough of the fight to indicate, in the edited version, there was enough of a fight to indicate, okay, there was a fight that happened, then there was a break, and then they continued. It's not like the fight didn't happen. If we watch that edited version, we know the fight happened, right? And the fight in the unedited version is clearly longer than what happens in the edited version, but it still protects the story of the battle in the sense that something happened, right?
I understand that, cutting that out, I get it,
But this, in Luxe versus Calico, this does not tell the full story of the battle, and that frustrates me.
I agree.
Even like however long like Luxe choked in the first round, that was edited down too.
Yeah, I heard it was like 15 minutes?
Oh, he choked for a long ass time.
You would think at some point you'd just be like, all right, I'm choking. I don't know.
I think the longest unedited choke in battle rap was Lopeshi. He choked for like 7 minutes straight, just like Avocado was doing the editing for that video, and he just like did the fast forward thing on it. It was hilarious.
How did that choke end? Did he call time, or was it? Like
I don't remember. I have to go back and watch that battle. I don't want to, but I will.
How do we feel about the way that this was presented, and as far as in the building, and I guess the way that it was filmed? Because I think, other than the obvious angle of looking at Calicoe's crotch, even though the integrity of it is maybe a little bit flawed, this battle is filmed and edited beautifully in my eyes. Like
that angle when he's like, "You won't get this work." Like that angle right there, like that angle from like you can see the whole crowd. That angle is one of the coldest angles in battle rap.
I agree.
More battles. They did this at Genesis. They should have walk-ups and walk-up music like a boxer does or like a UFC fighter does. They have the music playing, they darken the arena, and then they put a spotlight on the... I wish they did that.
A lot of times they do that.
Really?
On the app for Geechee versus Twerk, the way they did that, like the walk-up and everything, it looks so good. Like when Geechees walk out, they play one of Geechee's songs, and like the way they it worked with the filming was perfect.
It reminds me of our Summer Impact Reloaded. Calico and Red Mook walked out to Banner.
Oh, am I wrong?
And they actually did beat a nigga.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so that's gonna do it for episode 3 of the r/podcast.
Let's do one.
We got Wrath, we got Sauce, we got Dan, Lockhart, Yusuf, Swag, Hot Take. We had
Cal 2-1.
Lena, we had Luno, we had Dark Knight in here at some point. We got a whole lot of people popping in for this podcast.
The only person in the world that could get Alexa to say battle rap slogans.
That's swag.
Keep it going.
That's swag. Keep it going. No, so real quickly, some other housekeeping announcements. We got the Elevate tournament. We got myself, Make Sense, Swag God, Smoking on Goofies. We got all of us in here. That's going down starting July 5th for a $150 cash prize. We're going to have the r/tournament coming up shortly after. Yusuf and Lockhart have a 2-on-2 against each other.
Click the link in the description to get in the Discord. We'll shoot the shit with you.
Yeah, please
Fuck
do.
it. Why not?
We'll always do.
I can listen to y'all wrong opinions.
All right, and for everyone here in the r/podcast, I'm Hula. Please enjoy your day.